Hello and welcome to the weekly Quantum Human Revelations. So grab yourself a cup of tea and come and join us. We're just logging in and making sure everything's connected with those joining me on Zoom. So I'll just make sure I got the chat boxes up. So hello everyone. Hello to those on Zoom as well. So today I'm going to be talking about the Sirian gateway and how that impacts us as humans and what that's going to do for us over the next. It kind of goes on for quite a long time. So different people will pick up different energies throughout this gateway. They say starts on the 7th of the 7th, but I think it kind of starts a little bit before that maybe, and it ends a bit later than normal because the calendars shift as time goes by. So just go with what you feel is right for you, but I'll explain more about what the Sirian energy is going to do for us over the next couple of weeks as we lead up to the Lion's Gateway, which is the next big portal for us. So every week I come here to talk about, it's kind of my story as well. It's what I'm learning because it's new, it's uncharted territory. So everything I'm sharing is new. And I just wanted to be able to share it as it happens to me, because if it's relevant to somebody else, then it's going to help them on their journey too. So I'm Trudy and I'm a soul coach, and I help people align with their soul's great vision. So this comes in many different forms. There are kind of 8 areas of life that I look at, and usually I find that a problem in one area usually impacts all the other areas. But by focusing on the vision, pulling us forward rather than pain pushing, I find it's an easier way to undo some of the negative aspects and the karmic lessons of our soul so that we can move forward into something new. And if you've been following me now, we're on week 13, I think. So this has been a development for me as well, as I've been learning to see what this is going to become, because when I do these kind of things, they're channeled. I don't know what they want me to talk about. I'm kind of just as a little bit anticipating, just like you, waiting to see how this is going to turn out. And I think that's important for you guys to see, because this is what's happening for everyone. You know, I find that I'm more able to channel when I show up. Not that I can't channel normally, but I get more vision orientated channeling when I show up. I start, they give me insights, and then that unveils and the next level shows up. So by doing this without always knowing where I'm going, it's interesting to see then after a few weeks where I've been and how I've got to where I am. So when we started these live shows, it started off on the creative path to abundance. So it was the sort of the 5D way of connecting to our value, our creative energy, our sexual energy, all the way through up until turning our value into actual money. And how, when we look at abundance, what we're really looking at is our own frequency and how we value what we can do in the everyday. And often we don't, you know, what's easy to us, we don't value, and we don't realize other people can't do it. So that's where the journey kind of started. It then kind of evolved a little bit more then into the kind of people who are needing this message, because many of us have so many talents and so much potential that, like I said, we don't actually realize it. And now it's time to start realizing that we're awakening to powers we didn't even know we had. And that I'm calling the quantum human, because it doesn't feel like these people will become healers in the traditional sense of healers. These are people who will have fingers in many pies, that are multifaceted, multidisciplinary abilities, multidimensional. You know, they have this ability to cross over boundaries, whether it be the etheric to the logical, whether it be creative into logical. There'll be lots of crossovers. So it can be quite a messy path if we're trying to work out who we are when we've got so many pieces of scattered pieces and can't quite see how they fit together. But I think as time is going on, we're starting to see those pieces now starting to come together. And that's what we started talking about next. So I explained that for me, that's me becoming aware that I'm here to awaken a type of human that's going to blend 3D skills and 5D skills in such a way that they will make a difference in the world and make an impact. But also, they're not going to be seen in that kind of healer category. You know, these people are going to be in normal jobs, doing the changes from the inside. They're going to be parenting children in a new way so that they become the leaders of tomorrow. They could be setting up their own businesses. They could be already in corporate structures. But these people are already starting to get these little niggles that there's something bigger than themselves, something outside of themselves wanting to be known to them. And that's what I'm going to call the quantum human, for want of a better word. So I have said to you guys, you know, What does the quantum human sound like to you? Is that a good phrase? Am I getting it right with the name, or is there perhaps a better name I can use? But I feel that this is an evolution of humanity. You know, as artificial intelligence comes up and rises up, it's threatening our creativity. Well, the divine intelligence then of the quantum human is what lifts us up so that we come and we match again. And that's also part of the creative energy that I was talking about in the first few episodes. So I'm just going to check into the comments. Yeah, Marta's saying that she likes Quantum Human because it reminds her of Quantum Leap. Yeah, I kind of like that program too. So there's a lot of ways that we might notice that we are a quantum human, and some of the ways are very subtle. So it feels like we've not been successful up till now, that we might even have been struggling a lot with some pretty big challenges. And I did an episode where I tried to come up with different questions to kind of see if this fitted you. It feels like we've been using our energy to fuel other people, so they've been successful off of us. And it feels like we've been on the sidelines a little, either because we feel like we need to be on the sidelines, or because we had an illness or a sickness or something that kept us on the sideline. And it feels like this energy is shifting now so that we can take center stage. So stepping off those sidelines into the center. And with my soul work of connecting us to our great vision, I've spoken about before how the old kind of karmic loops, the old purpose, the old mission aspects are all closing down. And what we thought we were here to do is being reinvented, basically based on what we decide, into a vision instead. And the vision is much more expansive if you sense into this, into your heart of what soul mission, soul purpose feels like. It kind of feels like it was something you were given, and it was like preordained to a certain degree. Whereas now what we're moving into is this: use all your tools, use all your potential, use all your challenges, and find the gold in it to turn it into a bigger vision for humanity. And again, that might sound rather big and grand, but what we're here to do for humanity can be so simple just by holding space. You know, if we're all holding space, we can change the world. If we can raise the frequency one person at a time, a small group at a time, then that's all part of it. So this quantum human is kind of this being who's willing to step into their shadows, to examine who they are, to look at the painful sides of humanity, and then start looking at how to create solutions and what we can do instead. So how does that fit for you guys? How many of you kind of feel like you might be quantum humans? I'm hoping by now that I've done this long enough that the call out energetically starting to bring more quantum humans in. And so you might not even have known this is who you are, but if you're feeling like you're on the sidelines ready to step up, then it's quite possible that you are. Even if you're here watching the show, because that's who I'm looking for, then there's a probability that that's what you're meant to be. So Jenny's saying yes to all. I'm just checking if I can see. Marta says you can feel that too. Excellent. I'm just checking that I've got all the comments going on that. Yeah, I have on YouTube. So the thing I wanted to talk about today with the Sirian energy is this time of year, we're starting to get Sirius energy more dominant in the cosmic realms. So we can start feeling it more. And Sirius represents our spiritual sun. And for me, it's a time when we get more insights on our vision and our soul purpose on a grander scale. So during these next, I'll say about 6 weeks, this is a time where you need to pay more attention to all the signs around you. And the interesting thing is this month of July has come up as being volcanic eruptions of potential, but also this earthquake shattering mass consciousness, which just seems to be coming through as a karmic wave over the mass consciousness, not an individual sort of thing, but a complete blanket over the whole world. And it's going to pop up as either reminders of things that you've lost, or things that you, like situations you thought you'd resolved, coming back up to show itself again. And the interesting thing that I've noticed with these karmic issues when they're coming up is it's actually not a punishment of having to relive that karma again. There is a message of hope in it, if you can find it, that will release it much quicker than trying to fix what you think the karmic issue is. So think of it as a soul lesson hidden within a karmic lesson. And when I say soul lesson, because we know all karmic lessons are soul lessons, but it's a kind of a soul vision lesson hidden inside the karmic lesson, might be a better way to put it. So as you're watching whatever's going on in your life right now, if you're feeling that uncertainty and groundedness, a little bit shaky, then last week we spoke about having to ground more deeper, because obviously the Sirian energies are going to get higher. It's going to stretch us in that difference between the high frequencies and the mass consciousness frequencies, and trying to kind of separate us back into there and here, when we want to try and master being in both places at the same time and being the anchor, holding the high frequency energies down to the earth. So Marta said, Jenny said she's feeling a lot of anger. So this could be the kind of the mass consciousness karmic wave that's coming over. And it's kind of going to stir us up in our own karmic issues as well. So rather than feeling a little bit annoyed or frustrated by the fact that this karma's come back again, or this lesson that keeps coming up is there again, then try and look into it and see if there's a lesson. So for example, a couple of times now we've noticed something quite bad appearing, but when we've looked into it, it's been something that a skill, almost like a skill that we had that we could now use instead. So something really weird happened recently where somebody seemed to be doing more copying again, but I kind of guessed there was more going on, but it turned out that the copying was all part of a karmic resolution, which when we finished it, actually was a win-win. So the way we resolved that karmic issue was more to do with the win-win rather than I'm going to fix this karmic issue. It was more that in this lifetime, we collaborated. And in this lifetime, by collaborating, it cancelled out the debt, if that makes sense. So it's really about flipping things over and reframing it as many different ways as you need to, so that you can start sensing what really is going on here. Now, this mass consciousness wave seems to be here for at least most of July, because if you remember last week, I said by August, we would start seeing opportunities and the fruits of our work. So if we can get through this month, then I think we should be feeling a little bit more stable come August. So how is this showing up for you guys right now? So Marta's saying, feeling uncertainty, like it's all lava under my feet. Yeah, it's definitely making me feel wobbly. Even things that I thought I had a clear vision on is starting to shake. Even though the vision is still there, it's just making the vision kind of wobble too. And that's the kind of feeling I'm getting. Let me just check. So just notice now, even just think about the week and what's been going on for you, and just see if you can sense into a karmic thing that might have more meaning for you right now. Because what that's going to show you is your first clue to what your vision is. Now, a thing I was thinking about this week is, like many of us have not been as successful at what we were doing that we might have, like other people have been more successful at. So it shows the idea wasn't wrong. It was just something to do with us. And to me, it kind of reminded me that, one, we've been on the sideline because we've been waiting for this time. There's something really important about this time that we were needed for. And we were almost in like a cocoon up until now, taking our lessons to be opened now. But also, I think it's because we've been aiming too small. The things that we've been trying to do with our skills have been way too small for what we're meant to do. And I think the reason we keep getting doors closing, issues and problems is because we've been not aiming big enough. And even when you think you're going bigger, it still seems like there's more to be had. So, you know, in the past, we might have thought we're not manifesting properly, we're not in alignment, we're not, and those are kind of true. But if you think of it in that you're playing too small, the things that you were doing to try and fix the misalignment and the manifesting statements will show differently when you go bigger. You know, you have to change all of your manifestation statements. You have to change your frequency to a much higher vibration, not even higher. It's that alignment to what you want. So when you start going from that perspective, then you start noticing how things flow more easily when you're in that higher vibration. So what sort of things could you have done differently in your soul vision so far, and what your work has been? How, like, are there moments that you think, I wish I'd taken opportunity X, or I don't like to be seen, so I prefer to stay in the background, or I don't feel like my calling is to be so public? and maybe I'm meant to work from the background, from the back office kind of thing, and then radiate from there, because I feel that the quantum human calling of Sirius is going to suggest that we actually stand up right in the middle of the stage and be ourselves and sing loudly, shout our message, and expect bigger things. You know, it's going like thinking as big as being on TV with your messages, having large conferences with your messages to reach more people. And I think sometimes when we reach those heights, it kind of knocks us off and thinks, you know, how are we going to achieve that? Because that needs money, or that needs resources, or that needs contacts. But if that's where we're meant to go, if that's the gift or the story or the vision that you're seeing, then of course that's been given to you for a reason. And yes, as old souls, we've got an awful lot of baggage and hardships and memories of experiences that have been really tough. And we have to shed that. And that's what this karmic wave is kind of trying to do, is shed some of that stuff so that we're now free and lighter to reach up even higher into where we're meant to be. So that's quite a big shift. And I guess that's why we've got the volcanoes erupting with potential. It's like all that potential has been locked into our bodies, just waiting to burst, versus us then having that earthquake rumbling of breaking down and changing on the mass consciousness level. So how's that sounding for everyone? So for me, and I guess everybody's going to be different about what the Sirian energy means for you. But for me, the Sirian energy it's quite a light energy. I think, you know, my white star that I use on my picture, the little crystal star, the Merkaba, came to me, I think, from that kind of Sirian energy. That's what I tune into. And I don't think I'm from Sirius as a planet. It's just where the frequency seems to come from and where I get a lot of my downloads from. But we've been speaking about how various stargates are opening up, or at least there is, I've used this analogy before, but it's almost like we were at an airport where we only had an allowance to take 10 kilograms of luggage with us. And that was how we came to this planet. But now, because our bodies are evolving and our DNA is changing and shifting, we can now go back and get the rest of our luggage and bring it down. So that's more of our multidimensional soul parts coming back. So parts that perhaps we've never had access to before because we weren't ready to understand it are now coming down. And that's great because it's going to be more expansive, but it's also going to be maybe a little tough as we're trying to fit or recalibrate into this new energy that's coming in and upgrade ourselves out of the old version of ourselves into the new to receive more of our soul parts. And as part of that as well, you know, it feels like we have access to more universal knowledge than we've ever had before as well. And some of it's going to be contradictory, that we're going to have to balance in some way and sort of build a new truth out of it as we disseminate, like the parts that we're learning. We'll hear somebody else with a completely conflicting part, but they're not conflicting, they do fit together. And it's for us to try and work out how to put them together to create a coherent story of these bits that we're building up. So there's a lot of confusion in that process, and it can be quite hard to understand what is happening without some of the other pieces, which is why I do this every Monday. So more of us can talk, share, and say, yeah, I've had that piece, or I understand that piece. And then by sharing them, we get the bigger picture, because this is all new. As I keep saying, this is all new. So we've got no frame of reference to look at to actually tune in and see what this means. Just checking the comments. Yeah, so Marta was saying she feels there's a well of positivity and lightheartedness, but need to be reminded to keep consciously tapping into it. Yeah, I can feel that as well. But I do feel like that volcano is a bit violent in how it's being released, but it's still, it's stuff that we've been holding down for fear of, or not wanting to be seen, or fearing of how, whatever reason we've been pushing this down. It's just like saying, no more, it's time now for it to come up. And it's us now to find our individual processes of birthing this energy up onto the planet so we can be seen more. So if anybody else is sensing into those energies, then at the end of the session every Monday, we have a 30-minute live on Zoom where we get together and talk a bit more about how we're all feeling. So it's kind of more of a conversation, because I feel like, I call it a spiritual think tank, because I feel like the more I share what I'm sensing, other people can relate to that, and the more they can share with other people, because I do see this as a collaboration. And I feel like the more of us that get together and make contact, the more we strengthen each of our abilities to tap into these new quantum human abilities, so that we can use them then on for whatever purposes we have. But I'm also finding that people are niching a bit more, whereas niching is more of a business word for finding your clients. It's also seems to be very important for our unique frequency. So when we kind of identify our client, even if we're not working with clients, by creating that avatar of what we serve or who we help, like by our friends or by the work that we've done in the past, that also reflects back to us more about our unique frequency, so we can learn to master it and then be better at describing it to others. So I think that's happening a lot as well. It's almost, it is this real kind of jigsaw puzzle. We're all kind of finding our shape and all slotting into each other, which I think is quite exciting when I see that happening. I can't see what you guys shared there. I could just see I love that and then a blank. So if you think about your spiritual goals now for the next month, and we know that there's this potential, do you have the tools you need to help you step into the version of you that you need? Because one of the tools that I like I shared the grounding tool last week, but this week I wanted to share more of a visioning tool, is using future life to move into the best future, to find that version of you living your best future and see what you're doing there. And then use that to help give you some clues on what you need to do now to help smooth this process, to make it a little easier, so it doesn't quite feel so turbulent as it might feel otherwise. And this best version of you, when you find them, it doesn't always necessarily like verbal messages that you'll get. You will get more a feeling. And part of being a quantum human has been able to hold certain frequencies, and I use it in that way to see that future version, feel what it feels like to be her. And even if I don't know what or how, I try to concentrate on connecting to that feeling on a regular basis, which then I know will change my vibration, so I'm more in alignment with it. Because, like I said, it's an unknown frequency, so we haven't always got the words yet. It usually comes afterwards, I find. But 3 or 4 months later, I'll go, oh, that's what that was. But now at least you can start to sense into knowing there is a different frequency at the end of all this. So I hope that's something you can all kind of consider doing this month, and just seeing if you can find that most ideal frequency for you. So before I finish today, I just wanted to talk a bit more about the Lion's Gateway, which comes next. So the Sirian energy starts on 7/7, and that leads us up to 8th of August, which is the Lion's Gateway. And as I said, the Sirian energies are this time of year most sort of used in Egypt. They were quite related to what the Egyptians' calendars and how they worked with the Nile flooding when they saw Sirius. So it has a practical kind of nurturing energy as well. But also then the Lion's Gateway is going into those sort of beings of the lions and the cats, Sekhmet, Bastet, and those sort of goddess and god skills leading up to the Sirian energy. There is also a planet of dolphins and whales. So if you guys get any downloads that are that kind of energy, lions, cats, whales, dolphins, then that again is the Sirian energy speaking to you. And I don't know about you guys, but when you can come to connect to your soul tribe, I'm finding that that energy is much more satisfying. Can it be satisfying? It kind of makes you feel less lonely in this journey as well. So as well as our human tribe, connecting back up to our soul tribes really helps kind of remind us of why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing right now, and to give us that little bit of TLC and love that we need to keep walking this path. Because like I said, it's going to feel a bit turbulent this month, particularly. So I hope that all makes sense. So we've got lions last week or the week before, and we've got dolphins. Oh, so Martin actually just bought, didn't know you could get bed sheets with dolphins on, but that sounds cool. So you're going to be sleeping in dolphin energy. That sounds cool. So I try to think what else I can say, and I've only got a few minutes left, and I'm trying not to overrun. It's like 5 minutes. How do you explain the whole of Sirian energy in a few minutes? So let's see if you guys, let's just use the last 5 minutes to tune in. I think let's use it that way. So if we all tune in now to the Sirian energy, and just close your eyes and take a deep breath and go in through the center of your heart. And as you go through the heart, you open the flower within and you find the pearl in the center of the flower. And you step in through the pearl and out onto the platform. And on the platform, when you're standing there, you see the vastness of the universe within you. You see all the timelines, all your dimensions, all of your lives, all laid out through these pathways, through the stars and the nebulas. And you see how vast you are. You kind of reconnect with how big you are. And you don't need to fear, because the human body might seem like it's small and insignificant, but it can expand because it already holds all of this. It already holds all of these things and all of who you are. And you can kind of imagine your body expanding to absorb even more of it, and then contracting and expanding and pulsing and allowing that energy to flow through you. And now imagine that you can see the star Sirius here within this world within you. And you can just ask it to deliver a message to you now, something that you need for July to help you move through this energy. As you stand on that platform, just simply ask to be shown whatever you need for your highest good right now. It might be a word, a symbol, an object. It might just be a ball of energy. And just notice what it makes you feel like. What sort of energy signature is it giving to you right now? Let's just call on one of the big white Sirian lions, that big white and cuddly huge. Just ask them to come and wrap their paws around you and give you a big hug. That always feels very good and calming and relaxing. So a big, huge lion hug from this huge lion. And typically when I meet the lions, I just feel their heart energy. I just feel the love, and the frequency of love that they hold is so unconditional and so expanded. So as he hugs you, you can feel like your hearts are aligning up, and you can feel the pulsing and the vibration going through your body. And if ever you're struggling through this month, then just come back in through the heart, out onto the platform, and call on the Sirian lions and have a little hug. So we're just going to say thank you to the lion, and thank you to the insights that you've received. And you can do this, like I said, repeatedly throughout the month to help you get more insights on what's going on. And then step back into your heart. Let this new frequency now flood the feeling of your heart chamber. Just let it flood through that and expand the energy out. And I like to breathe, and as I breathe, I like to feel my chest expanding to make more room for this energy inside my body, to really feel that energy coming into my body. Expand it wider than my heart till it's filling my whole chest. And then let it run right through my body so my whole body can feel this energy that I've just brought back. And then just bring your awareness back into the room. And then keep practicing until this becomes your signature, your normal benchmark of your energy every day during these Sirian energies. Because the veil is thinner, so it's easier to get access to this energy at the moment, whether you've done this kind of work before or not, which I think is super cool. So I hope you guys are feeling a bit better. Let me know if that's needed that, Jenny said. Cool, thank you. So hopefully that's, yeah, as I say, it's so quick, half an hour goes before it's like, it's gone. Heartwarming from Marta, thanks. So yeah, we might be needing that a bit on and off now. As I said, it's this earth trembling going on here, and it's that finding that inner calm tool to help you bring yourself back. So there we are, 30 minutes, poof, gone again. That's the thing with time at the moment. Time's not linear, but it seems to be like time jumping and switching out real quick. I don't know where June went. June just disappeared completely. And even days, I feel like Saturdays and Sundays are suddenly Mondays. So it feels like it's always Monday at the moment. So every Monday, you can join me here live at 8 p.m. talking about quantum human insights that I'm getting and sharing my journey through opening up memories and parts of me to these new energies that come in as part of the Ascension process. But also I have a membership that we do this work in more detail, where we get together 3 times on the full membership. We get together 3 times a month and we tune into the energy. So like this month, we've already tuned into, we actually did dancing with energy, because that earth ground shaking energy needed us to really embody more of our energy. So we did that last Thursday. And I think we're going to probably do some karmic work next, because of this karmic wave that's going across the planet. So we'll probably do some of that for the next one with some dancing as well. So whatever you're doing this month, may it be fruitful, and keep a journal, and hopefully you'll find some really amazing insights, because most of my clients now are having some pretty big breakthroughs on what they're here to do, where they've been really stuck up until now, and now these light bulbs are coming on, and it's happening quite quickly. So again, whatever you put your attention on is where your energy flows. So if you put your attention on your vision, I hope that you'll find some magic and your potential now starting to bloom and flourish, and make that the focus, not the pain of the past and everything that we've been through. So thank you all for listening. I'm going to spend some time on Zoom now, and I'll see you